All right, welcome back to another live stream for Cloaked Treasure. I am your host, Mike, and here with my co-host, Greg. Greg, how's it going?
Excellent. This is our first live stream of the year, so excited to have something to talk about. Maybe I wish it would have taken a little longer, but that's Noah's fault. So I'll introduce him. Noah Runnels has solved our first free hunt in just under 4 hours, which was pretty impressive. So he and I kind of traded some emails, and his solve technique was absolutely spot on. It's almost like he knew how I built it. So that was pretty impressive. Before we get
Well,
to Noah,
if you're in Greg's brain, I apologize already.
no doubt, no doubt. Before we turn it over to Noah to talk us through the puzzle, I am going to talk through kind of Cloaked Treasure's 2026 plan. So, Mike, if you could drop that
Okay,
on the stage for us.
let's do it.
A reminder to folks that we got done with our first free hunt, which was the virtual hunt. We've got a handful of other ones that are coming up. So kind of color coded here. May 15th, we've got a boots on the ground hunt that's taking place over in the Detroit area. So it's confined this year. We're trying to keep it a little more geographically specific, so you know if you want to play that particular stage or not. But it's confined to these three counties. We will release that at 5 p.m. on May 15th. For those folks that have been joining us from, I think we've got United Kingdom, we've got Saskatchewan, we've got Oregon and Las Vegas. We're not going to do a virtual aspect to this one. You can certainly play along, but you'll see when the clue comes out, it really does demand you being out in the woods. Then we'll shift to Northern Michigan in May 28th. And I think what we're going to do with this one does kind of lend itself towards a virtual aspect. So for those folks that aren't in Michigan, if you solve that one, we'll give you a credit at our merchandise store, so you can order some Cloaked Treasure gear. And then obviously the person that actually heads up there and finds the particular location we're looking at and gives us a picture of the token, will get the $200 prize. And then we've got June 12th, we'll be in the center of Michigan. So we've got those 5 counties. Again, that one kind of lends itself pretty well to being a boots on the ground. And then we have a final one that's kicked out to, I think, June 26th, that is fully virtual again. So we'll wrap up the free hunts. And then we've got this little blue square here, rectangle, that is June 5th. So that is the first of our little bit larger hunts. So we're calling it the Quest for Providence. It is confined to Kent County, Michigan, which is near Grand Rapids or houses Grand Rapids. And it's sponsored by Bill and Paul's Sport House. So if you haven't been there, they've been around since, I think, 1961. And they are pretty awesome if you're into skiing, paddle sports, or backpacking and hiking. They've got packs, paddle boards, kayaks, the best selection of skis anywhere on this side of the state. They do just an awesome job, and their folks are really knowledgeable. So when we reached out to them, they were pretty excited to partner. So you're playing for a $500 gift certificate at the store, which is kind of a neat. I mean, I could use that in 3 seconds there. But in addition, if you sign up, and it's only a $10 hunt to play, if you sign up, they're giving you 15% off a single item in the store. So that coupon is worth well more than the registration fee if you're looking at boots, backpacks, skis, kayaks, paddle boards. And then they have a full line of clothing, so rain gear and gear from Arc'teryx and North Face and Patagonia and some of the higher end outdoor companies. So it's a pretty cool place. So we're excited to get that one kicked off. And that'll be a little more traditional to what we did last year. It'll be the little boots on the ground. There'll be some riddles. It'll be kind of a multi-stage, but all in Kent County. And you'll have to visit the store to get the first clue. So that's what we got going on. I think visually I can pop it over to here and kind of show that. But this is on our website as well. And it just sort of walks through what we're doing. Obviously, August 1st, mark your calendars. That's our big hunt. That's the $5,000 in prizes. More to come on that. All right. So that's me.
Doing these were just kind of listening to our participants last year. Some of the obstacles for deeper participation was I don't know where in Michigan this thing is going to be. Like, do I know if it's going to be traveling? So this is helping us locate the hunt for you. So if you're in, Southwest Michigan, you're like, oh, I can get there. But if you're in Traverse City, maybe that's too far for you. We're going to try to find, we got some other ones up north there. If you're out on the east side, we've got some stuff over there. So we're going to try to move it around, but at least give you an idea of where these hunts are going to take place at.
Yeah, and we do have a couple more similar to Bill and Paul's that we're working on right now. They're not finalized enough to share, but you can see there's some white areas of the state. So we're thinking about doing one down in kind of the lower central area, and hopefully at least 2 other ones this summer. But stay tuned on that. So with that, I think we can switch over to the Scrabble puzzle, and maybe I will pull up. Oh, Mike, did you bring it up? I don't think I did.
I did not. It's probably on the website. Hold on one second.
Oh, there we go. I got it.
You got it? All right.
All right. So Noah, we're going to turn this over to you and leave this up on the screen so you can educate the rest of us on where this was. And maybe just want to start with what's the answer?
Well, the answer is the south point of Government Island.
Yeah.
It's in the UP. It's a part of, I forget the name of the group of islands it's in, but.
Yeah, so you solved it so quickly that I couldn't use one of my hints. But one of my hints is there's actually 2 government islands in Michigan. But they both have a south point. So if you look, the one you're looking at is up in, I think, Lake Superior. Or no, it's Lake Huron, right off the southern tip of the Upper Peninsula. But there's another one near Messick in the Manistee River. So interesting. There's actually 2 of them, but you're absolutely right. It's Government Island, South Point of Government Island. How the heck did you get that?
Well, I'll start by saying I never played Scrabble, I think, in my life. So looking at this board, I was like, what's going on? But my initial thought was maybe put a lot of this in here just to false trails, lead people astray a bit. So my thought was, how do you find some meaning in all this, right?
Yeah.
And so I added up the scores for every word. I took into account if the word was vertical or horizontal. I even looked at like the empty tiles, because north has an empty tile. Did that make it special or something?
Yeah.
And so I tried everything I could think of with the numbers. Like if it's an even number, does it mean something? If it's odd, if the like base score is equal to the true score, like after you add the modifiers, does that mean something? And then after like 3 hours of nothing, took a break, came back to it, and I started looking at those special squares, like the triple word, triple letter.
Yeah.
And for every word that touched one of those special squares, I took it into account in every letter that was on those special squares. And I think with the double letter points, that gave every letter for government.
Yeah.
And then I knew of Government Island, so I couldn't take my eyes off island on it. And so I said, what makes island special on it? And it's a word that touches a triple letter. And the only 2 other words on the board that do that are south and point. And so there it was.
Yeah. So that's exactly how the puzzle was built. And you kind of stepped through some of the things we thought people would get stuck on. We had a whole range of hints prepared for this, and some of them had to do with the scores. We were going to give the scores of each of the words that was involved in it. But it even went so far as I got probably the best solve I've had so far is totally random, not intentional, but this Joy Boy is strangely enough associated with the One Piece novels for kids, which is about pirates and treasure. And it is also a canoe or boat company that was manufactured on a specific river in Michigan. And
Wow,
so their solve was like that river, that pavilion, it must be there. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. I had no idea that was even built in there. That's just a way for me to use the letters. But yeah, when I actually put the Scrabble board together, I put the word government on the double tiles. So the first one is G, and it's a little bit challenging to see because the Scrabble tiles cover up the board. But you can look at one of these boards clean, and you can see G on the left side, and then the O and the V are on doubles. So you kind of go vertical, left to right is the way to read it. So G O V E R N M E N T, and that gives you the word government. And then I thought, well, people are going to figure that out, so I'm going to make it more challenging, and we're going to do a second type of code, which you identified that any word that touches a triple letter score. So island right here, the A is on a triple letter, and then we've got point down here is on a triple letter, and then south is the H is on a triple letter. So that was the code's relatively simple, but as you said, you have to go through a lot of different iterations to prove that it isn't vertical words or horizontal words or words that start with a certain letter or words that total up to a prime number or some other iteration of that, which can be a lot challenging. So
yeah, congrats to Noah though, because like we were Greg created this puzzle, and he's like, hey, can you play test this, check it out, give it a go. I spent hours on it. I'm like, all right, give me the hints. And so he gave me the first hint, and I'm like, keep going, I need another hint. And he went through 3 or 4 hints. I'm like, you're gonna have to walk me through this because I still didn't get it. And I think I'm a reasonably bright dude, and you just rolled through everything that he did, like you were in his brain. Which, again, if that's the case, that's rough.
How long
I could not get it.
How long did it take you to come up with the puzzle?
So the puzzle itself, I mean, the idea of the puzzle was like 30 seconds. I played Scrabble as a kid, and this thing is from I think the 80s. And I've still got it sitting around. And I played it with my kids and things. So I was like, okay, we're going to do something with a Scrabble board. And then I picked a point, Government Island. And I was like, okay, let's see what I can do. So I said, I put the original letters, the G, the O, the V on the double scores. And then it probably took me about an hour to build the rest of the board around it, so that I used every letter I had and didn't run afoul where I dropped another word on a triple or put a letter on one of the doubles, which, I mean, you end up with some interesting and some boring words, but it does all fit. The other ironic thing about this is, because this is an old Scrabble set, it's missing 2 tiles, and it's a C and a T, which are kind of how I go by on Discord. Which is the Cloaked Treasure, which is kind of totally unintentional, but that's just the way this board sits. So I have another question for you, Noah, did you use any AI tools on this?
So I was lazy to start, and I didn't want to type every word into a spreadsheet.
Okay.
So I think I plugged it into Claude to see if it could just organize it for me and do all the math. And it could only find like a third of the board, so I gave up on it pretty quick. But okay. I use it a lot just to like find other places named government.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
Interesting. Yeah, I've got pro subscriptions to both ChatGPT and Claude, and I put this picture in and gave it a whole list of background information, and Claude gave me a 18-page report, and it got. There was a point in there where it went through, like right in the middle, and it said, I'm now going to look at tiles that touch double word, double letter, triple word, triple letter for a pattern. And I was like, oh, okay, let's see. And then it got, like, as you said, it only got half the letters. So I don't know if it was incapable of putting the board pattern and it couldn't see which letters were on the doubles. But yeah, we try to make these AI proof, like you can use AI, but we certainly don't want that you just type it in and it gives you the answer. That's no fun. Another question for you, Noah, is did you play last year?
I played the first one, the Caesar Cipher with Pi.
Okay.
And after that one, I put a lot more time into that one than this one. And I didn't get it. And I thought, if I can get this one, I'm not going to drive somewhere to try. So I did play it last year for a few weeks.
Okay. So do you think you're going to drive this year?
If it's close, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, the Pi one last year was a lot of fun. I think I made some enemies when it was a one-time pad cipher because people were using all kinds of crypto tools and obviously not getting very far with it. But I think in the end, that one, again, once you kind of see the solve, it's really pretty straightforward. So cool. Well, I'm glad to have you back this year.
What I would say is, even last year, the types of, and we're going to try to do the same thing this year, the types of puzzles were different. So if cryptography is not your thing, but visual puzzles are, like, that's what we tried to do a little bit last year, is to kind of change up. Is this a riddle puzzle? Is it a visual puzzle? Is it a math puzzle? And so we're going to do the same thing this year, just because everybody has, everybody's brain works in slightly different ways. So if this puzzle was not up your alley, we're going to have something that's going to be the kind of thing that you can comprehend and process. So for those that were out there doing this one, you're like, I just can't do this. This was not my thing. I'm not going to do Cloaked Treasure stuff anymore. Know that we're going to have different types of puzzles. So we will find something that will be, up your alley at some point.
Yeah, so to that point, a little primer on the next one. This is the Detroit area puzzle. That is what you are looking for. That specific tree. There is a Cloaked Treasure token nailed into it. Find me that tree and take a picture yourself with the token in the tree. So I know you found it, and there's your $200. There's going to be more than just that because, finding a tree in the forest in 3 counties is a bit challenging. So, but I thought I'd share that for fun. And then I guess since my camera's on, folks in the background can see the little chest back there. There's a small chest on top of a little bit larger chest. So this is what's going to show up at Bill and Paul's Sport House in probably about a week. So what you're going to be trying to do is unlock this larger chest. You're going to have to find the key somewhere in Kent County. And then inside that, there's going to be some other things. There's going to be some clues, some more parts of the puzzle. And your ultimate goal is to unlock this little black box, which is going to have the $500 gift certificate in it. So stay tuned. That'll get put out in the store here pretty soon with some flyers and some posters and with some information. And then the hunt goes live on the 5th with the clue that'll be released in the store.
Now, Greg, there's one key out there, right? So there's going to be a first person that finds the key.
Yeah. So
what do subsequent people do?
Right. That's a good question, Mike. So, trying to work with sponsors and build a little bit larger community for this, there's always a what's in it for them. And like we used Shakespeare's last year. They're an awesome establishment and they were more than willing to help. But we didn't really drive a lot of traffic to Shakespeare's pub because it was only the winner that really had to go there.
Yeah. That was the answer.
Yeah, it was the answer. So what we're doing here is the first clue will be released in store. So you have to show up. You get your 15% off gift certificate there as well. And then somewhere in Kent County, there's a single key. Now, once someone finds that key, they bring it back to the store. They unlock the chest. They get to open it. There's a small prize for them in there. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. But there's a kind of a neat, unique little item that we're going to give to our finder that opens that first chest. And then you get the first crack at all the information that's inside of it. For everybody else, we're going to let them know when that chest gets open. And then you have to run back to the store and take a look and kind of use all that new information that's inside the chest to try to find the second key. So that's kind of our pitch to Bill and Paul's to get you to go in the store. Again, it's an awesome place. I buy a lot of my backpacking gear there. So we've got a trip out to the Sierras later this summer, and I've taken my kids up there, and we're buying food and socks and boots and all kinds of gear. So if you're into any of that kind of outdoor stuff, they're awesome. They also sponsor the Michigan Adventure Racing races that I know at least some of our seekers play. So they're a good partner in West Michigan in general. So if you haven't been there to give them business, take a look. And if you find something you like, use that 15% off coupon. It'll be awesome. All right, Noah, any more parting thoughts from you?
No, I'm excited for the rest of this year. That's
All right.
about it.
Can people rent out your puzzle solving services if you're not playing a stage? Can they just DM you?
If they can afford it, sure.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, thanks.
Are you on Discord, by the way?
Yeah, I just joined a few days ago.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to build that community where people can throw ideas out, or I got stuck at this part, which sometimes is antithetical to finding it yourself. If you're like giving someone, maybe you're further than they are and you're helping them out. But I think we had a lot of that on the $20,000 hunt last year, where people would work together as teams and can communicate in Discord. So I love the fact that we're getting more folks in there. We've got kind of some off-topic channel where you can just talk about anything. We got some channels that are directed at the free hunts, and when we start getting the sponsored hunts like the Bill and Paul's coming up, we'll have a channel directly for those. Loving the community growing there. So anybody that hasn't joined our Discord, you should do so. I think there's a link on our website. I don't have it handy, or I'd throw it in the chat. But yeah, a plug for the Discord.
Indeed. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Noah. It's always great to talk to new folks and get people involved. Again, a little disappointed that you solved it in 4 hours. I was expecting that to be maybe a 2-weeker, but that's okay. I'm glad you did.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And we did leave it, we didn't give the solve out right away. So we were going to give people an extra, a week basically?
Yeah, well, until today.
Yeah.
And
nobody solved it. So,
and that includes some of our professional seekers like Skullbow, and I got one of these from him, or throwing a Scrabble board in the air. So I know some people were working on it, and I said, you cracked this in 3.5 hours. That's impressive.
Yeah. Well done.
All right. Well, good to talk to everybody. Everyone have a great evening, and we'll get a little bit more information out over the next week or so, but stay tuned for a week from tomorrow for free hunt number 2.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. We'll see y'all.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Bye.